right.
Ooh, beer. Mm-hmm. And with that, welcome to the Comics Brew and Chew podcast, the first one of 2020, or as I'm going to call it, the lost episode of Christmas 2019, because today we are enjoying...
Technically, though, real quick, it's going to be the second one to release in 2020, because I finally took that long-delayed Halloween Witches episode and sent it to myself off of your computer, Amanda.
Oops.
So, to make it real Christmassy, we have Star Wars. We have...
mostly always releases in December.
Which I still need to see, so we will not be talking about the movie.
Yes, no talks about the movie at all.
Okay.
We have Peppermint Schnapps Pie.
So good.
We have...
It's just peppermint schnapps and a pie plate, Fred.
Yeah. Not my idea, but it turned out well. And we have John's homemade spiked eggnog.
Well, it's not homemade. It's just eggnog that I spiked. So.
Did you do it at your house?
Yeah.
Then it's homemade.
There you go.
You can sell it on Etsy for $50.
Oh, probably. In that container? Look at that carafe.
I know.
Fancy.
It belongs in the zoo.
Oh. Carafe. That's funny.
Is it, though?
Today we will be talking about Star Wars, Darth Vader, because we were going to do Kylo Ren, but it turns out it didn't come out until, like, the day of the movie.
Yeah,
and it was only one issue.
Out right now.
So instead, we are going to be doing Darth Vader, and I was like, we should do Vader Down. And then John was like, we could do Fortress Vader, and I was like, we can do Fortress Vader. Which, not going to lie, I'm not a Star Wars expert, nor am I a Star Wars comics expert. But what I do have expertise in, is picking up John Star Wars comic books whenever. That's my daily exercise. I go and I picked up John Star Wars comics when I go to my local comic shop every couple months. And, by the way, if this podcast sounds different, it's because we got a new mic, a.k.a. my mom was like, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, ooh, a mic would be nice, because I've been looking at them, but I didn't want to spend my own money.
So is Blue sponsoring this podcast, or are they putting money into it?
No. If we say sponsored, we gotta follow YouTube rules, and those are
God.
stupid.
No. This podcast is more like sponsored by my helpful mother, who got me a mic for Christmas and also helped me make the pie because she's good at like baking and shit. And I was like, I don't know about these portions. None of this makes sense because it took me
1/4 portion.
Yeah, because it took me who knows how long to make
The pumpkin ones?
John can testify to
So
it.
sponsored by Fred's mom.
Yeah, sponsored by my mom.
I think I like this one more than the pumpkin.
Yeah.
I do too.
Well, you guys can.
Oh wait, no, I did try the pumpkin.
Yeah.
I like this
I
one
don't
more
like
as well.
pumpkin.
You guys can now share the bottle of peppermint schnapps that's going to go to waste in my house.
Boy.
By the way, I just had to mark down every other box of this pie mix at work, which is heartbreaking knowing that I could have got it for half off.
Well, it just means that you have to make a pie for every podcast now.
You have to make another one.
1/4 portion.
I'm getting kicked out of my house. But,
There's so many possibilities, though. Like, damn. Fred, like, you could do, like...
there are so many possibilities.
Key lime.
Yeah,
tequila.
I hope you guys like everything to taste like peppermint because I'm not buying more alcohol.
Just buy, like, 2 nips.
But key lime with tequila for
Cinco de Mayo.
Yep.
And tacos.
Fuck.
When is Cinco de Mayo?
May 5th. Tom, come on. It's in
we
the
could-
name.
It's in the name.
We could do another Star Wars book from May the 4th and wrap it into Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
The
We're
Star
doing it.
Wars Holiday Special.
That's what this could be called.
But that's the name of the video. But
Happy Life Day,
I
everyone.
will make you guys another alcoholic pie, but it's got to be in somebody else's kitchen.
Okay.
My only terms. But
Let's make it myself.
Okay, Thanos.
Yeah.
No, don't snap.
well, it's instant pudding, Tom. But yeah, so today we were talking about Charles Soule and Giuseppe Camuncoli, because I know how to say his name. Giuseppe Camuncoli.
Great name.
Hey, guess
Great
what
art.
podcast I didn't get to read the book?
Tom didn't get to read the book again.
Whoa.
It took me like 30 minutes this afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but someone had the book and then I was at
Tom,
work.
I was like, I can send you a link. I can send you YouTube
But
videos
I
and a breakdown.
was
you
training
could
somebody.
have
I
the
couldn't
book.
read it in the office.
To be fair, I only gave this to them a couple of days ago, even though I drove around with it in my car for a couple of days before that. And we'd been intending to like get together and do stuff for a few weeks now. Like, I was on vacation, and then John was on vacation.
And nothing happened.
And then Christmas hit, and when that happens, John and I are just at work.
Yeah.
I'm at work.
Work.
We stand around and talk a lot. But, yeah. So, this issue of this trade for Vader starts off with an issue John didn't realize it was in because the collection John was reading skipped the issue where...
No, the legitimate website I was on, I just picked up on the wrong issue.
I gave John the wrong numbering.
I was on that website today, too.
Starts off with the assassination of Jedi Master Eth Koth, because that's probably important to the storyline before this one. Maybe?
No, Vader, and honestly, leading up to this, Vader just hunts down Jedi and kills them.
That sounds rad.
It's a lot of that.
But, yeah. So then we get into the part where I was like, what the fuck is happening, which is issue 20. So it turns out this collects 19 to 25, which I should have known because I had to send everybody the numbers.
Yeah.
I bought the trade a couple weeks ago, and I was like, okay, John says it's good.
To be fair, 19 and 20 don't really tie into...
Fortress Vader.
Fortress Vader. It's kind of just a setup as to why he goes to build his fortress.
Kind of.
Because he's hunting Eth Koth, him and his Inquisitors. Eth Koth has a child. One of the Inquisitors attempts to give the child back to Eth Koth's wife. But one of the Inquisitors knows that this other Inquisitor's turning, so she ends up taking the baby back, and one thing leads to another. Vader has to kill two of his Inquisitors, who, if you're not familiar with Expanded Universe Star Wars, they're not Sith, they're dark side users who serve Vader and the Emperor in hunting down Jedi and bringing them to justice by killing them.
Thanks, Star Wars Rebels, for brushing me up on all of this.
But to be fair, the chase scene through Coruscant, fantastic.
I love how Vader, they're in an airspeeder, and rather than sit, Vader just stands in it while they speed through the atmosphere like the boss he is.
He is just, he's essentially standing on, the
speeding
trunk,
car.
The trunk of the car, being that way.
Yeah. But, so, there's, they wreak havoc and destruction in Coruscant, and Sidious is like, oh, my planet, you ruined my planet. I'm moving the Inquisitors off-world. And he's like, oh, Vader, I'll give you a planet.
Yeah.
He's like, do you want Naboo? He's like, I know you like Naboo. And Vader's...
I like the fact that it's, very, feudal, Europe, where the king's like, oh, you're, my best knight. Do you want a castle somewhere? Because, I can give you, I can give you a castle.
And Sidious being the piece of shit he is, he's like, oh, maybe you want Naboo, where your dead wife is from.
Yeah.
But I love how Sidious makes it about himself. He's like, yeah, it's my home world.
Yeah.
And then he's like, maybe Tatooine, where you grew up. We can turn it to glass. And I was like, that'd be weird. And then
awkward.
Instead, Vader's like, now I'm Mustafar.
And then, just to get that little bit of salt in the wound, Sidious is like, cool, but to get you there, I'm going to give you Padme's ship.
He's like, hey, look, I kept your dead wife's car.
It's in the back of my Jay Leno's garage.
Speaking of ships from Naboo, wasn't it part of an expanded universe thing? It was either when Force Awakens or Last Jedi was coming out. They mentioned that Phasma's armor was melted down from Palpatine's personal ship.
Yes. Or something like that. But, so yeah.
Because it's shiny.
Vader takes the N1 Nubian to Mustafar. Turns the shields down, though.
Yeah, which is rad. And he's got these fucking, Imperial engineers. Architects and engineers. And he's like...
fascinated by the ship.
They're like, oh, this is...
It's so beautiful and majestic. And Vader's like, I'm going to turn it into a piece of toast.
Yeah. You want to see, You want to see a convertible spaceship? Because that's what we're about to be in.
I also love how, he, burns it to a crisp, and the Imperial aesthetician is like, I figured out his aesthetic now. And then Vader's like, wrong.
Yeah. He likes charred and burnt and mangled.
Preferably designed by Ralph McQuarrie.
Yeah.
Just pull up some Ralph McQuarrie art, go through the old folders.
I'd be curious if they use some Ralph McQuarrie art in this, and we'll get into that later.
Well, traced it over with this thing style
or
almost?
Inspired by it, yeah. So he goes to Mustafar to start building his castle.
Which I didn't realize there were native inhabitants on Mustafar.
Yeah, Mustafarians.
You could see some of them in Revenge of the Sith, prodding at the lava, because all they do is stand
one.
around all day and prod at lava.
Do you remember the last time I watched Revenge of the Sith?
No.
Neither do I. The last time I watched a Star Wars movie was when I went with, I think, you guys to go see The Last Jedi.
So you didn't see Solo?
No.
I don't think anyone saw Solo. I mean, everyone in this room did, but...
Not Fred.
That's true.
Fred's behind on a lot.
So, before leaving for Mustafar, Sidious gives Vader a Sith Lord's helmet. The Sith Lord known as Momin, who,
Not the best name.
But Sidious explains that, like, oh, he was shunned and erased from the records because it has to fit Disney Story Group. His words, exactly.
Pablo Hidalgo.
I was giving you the book because I want the pie.
Oh, okay. So he gives him Momin's helmet. He tells him about him a little bit. So Vader takes the helmet with him to Mustafar because there's a locus point in the Force, which is like the cave on Dagobah. That's a locus point.
Yeah,
the
apparently
Force
these
is,
are things. Like, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
the Force is like super concentrated, and you can use it.
So
to, like,
would that be like Mortis is that on some crazy exponential level?
So Vader, that's where he's going to build his castle, over this locus point, because he still believes that the dark side is the pathway to unnatural things.
Can I
Many
say
abilities some consider to be unnatural.
the worst thing is I read Thor and like all these weird comics, and I have to say there's so much mumbo jumbo bullshit in Star Wars I can't get into.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, I mean, Star Wars has it to some extent in the movies, like, but once you branch out of, like, I would say, like, it definitely has it in the movies and in the Filoni shows, but once you look at Star Wars outside of those two core things,
There are no rules.
it's, like, there's a reason why growing up I was a huge Star Wars fan and I didn't care about the expanded universe.
Like,
Did you ever read the old expanded universe?
Parts of it, and I
bad.
quit
the only books
on
I ever,
everything.
the only books I ever read were the ones that revolved around clone troopers.
Yeah.
So there was none of this bullshit because they were like, we shoot stuff, and I was like, I get that.
The only stuff outside of the movies for Star Wars that I really get into is the animated shows. And, now Mandalorian, now that there's live action shows as well.
So Vader goes to, like, try and, like, use this locus point to, obviously get Padme back somehow. Because he's still...
Super horny.
Now, isn't that
Rather upset.
also, like, the premise of the Vader VR thing?
So, like, Vader's obsession with Padme has pretty much been every single Star Wars expanded universe that Disney's put out, has been his obsession over Padme. But I think it ended after this book.
Okay.
I think they've been done with that, hopefully. So, while Vader's on Mustafar, one of the Imperial architects puts on Momin's helmet.
Hey, look at this. It'd be fun.
Turns out, the spirit of Momin lives in the helmet, possesses the dude, and designs a castle. And Vader's like, interesting.
Yeah.
So basically, then it's Vader and Momin trying to build the castle as a focus point for the Force to influence the locus point to get to Vader's, it's a means to an end.
Meanwhile, they're fending off
Mustafarian attacks constantly.
which is hysterical. But the fact that every time the tower fails or like Moomin fails to impress Vader, he kills the host.
I love that one comic where they just keep showing the different castles being built, and like Momin's helmet is on a different body every time. I think it's on a lava tick in one scene.
Yeah.
I was like, was Vader just like, let's see how did a lava tick design a castle? They're huge.
Question.
Carefully.
When did this comic release?
2017.
Okay. I have questions that I will hold off on.
So, he's he's working with Momin to build the castle, and it's revealed that Momin was like a very sick, affluent child who carved up a pet cat and turned it into art.
Quote,
and
unquote.
they were like, oh my god, lock this kid up. They lock him up, he gets broken out by a Sith Lord, takes him as her apprentice, and then he kills her, because that's what the Sith do. And he's like, I'm not really about this ruling the galaxy thing, I just want to make art that insults the Force. And that's what he tries to do. And then he gets stopped and killed by the Jedi, and...
As you do.
Yeah, but his spirit lives on in his helmet.
Because if you're a Sith, you need one thing, and it's a rad fucking helmet.
Or a cool house.
Or a cool house. Or...
Darth Sidious didn't have a cool house.
No.
Actually, no, he did. He lived in the Jedi Temple.
Nor did he have a cool helmet.
No, he did not.
He needed one.
So, near the end of the book, they build the final Vader castle that we see in Star Wars Rogue One. Or Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. It also...
Which was nuts.
What else did it appear in? Something else, right?
Say that again?
Vader's castle.
Rogue, just Rogue, and...
The
Does it
Vader-
ever show in Rebels? Because I've only
No.
seen up to season 1 finale
It
of
does not
Rebels,
show up
which
in
is
Rebels.
outside of, like, they're orbiting Mustafar, but we never go down to the surface.
Yeah. So they're over. Yeah, no, we never. And then we see it in the Vader Immortal
The
VR
VR
series,
thing.
but that's very niche.
Yeah. But as
Apparently,
far
that's
as,
a
like,
few
the
parts of
main
it.
core,
Yeah,
like,
apparently.
movie and show stuff goes, it's just Rogue.
So Vader.
Not that.
Yeah, Vader
Oh.
Immortal is a VR thing. So
You guys talking about that other thing I didn't get to see yet?
yeah. Anyways, so
Why did I agree to do this episode?
right as Vader's done building the castle and his force focusing tower is done, the Mustafarian attack, and he can't like open the door to the weird place that he goes to.
The Upside Down.
Yeah, pretty much. And he's like, hey, Momin, don't you do any funny business. I gotta go kill these Mustafarian and they're big bugs. Momin, obviously, turns on Vader.
What?
A
Oh,
Sith
it's the
turns
trail.
on another one?
So Momin, the person possessed by Momin, opens the door, and Momin comes out, which is so fucking cool. Because they literally say, "Hello, me," and I was like, "This is so cheesy. I love it." He gives his helmet to the return from the dead Momin, which I'm assuming is returned from the past somehow.
Yeah.
See, remember when I sent you the picture of the helmet earlier? And
Yeah.
Like, I don't recognize this.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then
You know it's super cheesy, but if it was in a movie and it was just hello me, like the audience would lose their shit.
yeah. So while Momin's doing this, Vader's fighting Mustafarians, and they summon a lava tidal wave somehow, and Vader survives in lava by creating a force bubble. It's so fucking cool.
Lava bending.
He's
Goddamn.
like, yeah, he's holding the lava off. His suit's like, hey, it's
Melting.
really hot. And he's like, I'm fine.
Yeah. He's going full Iron Man at this point.
So he comes out of lava, kills the Mustafarians. And then he fights Momin. Because he's like, I knew you were going to do this. And Momin's like, no, you didn't. He throws a rock at Momin to kill him, which I was disappointed by.
Yeah.
There's a rock at him?
Well, he throws like a big Sith tablet and crushes him.
Ah,
It's very,
the sacred texts.
it's very, very violent.
Kind of like an iPhone Sith.
An iPhone Sith? Yeah, it does look like an iPhone. See, but like this whole thing with like the weird like Sith magic, well, not magic, but like opening doorways into like other dimensions.
The
and-
mumbo jumbo bullshit.
Yeah, like, see, I like that Star Wars is getting into this. Like, I love it. I love exploring the Force as a more like mystical, magical, and not midichlorians. Which, yeah, that was a thing.
That was the thing.
So Vader steps into this different, like, in-between space. Like, there's something in Star Wars similar, but it's not like this. So he steps into this weird thing, he has all these visions. And he's, in the panels, he's represented as just, like, this, like, swirling...
He
like,
looks like kind of chakra-ish.
Yeah, he's just like a
Show the
black,
crowd.
swelling...
Oh, yeah, that looks sort of like
mass.
something I would see in a Doctor Strange comic.
And then where his cut-off limbs are, there's just nothing. Oh, there's the light. So,
The parts of him he lost
yeah.
when he turned to the Sith.
So he's like walking through this like ethereal plane, very Doctor Strange, very vision, and he keeps like you see, like he keeps hearing like stuff from the movies, like Obi-Wan and all these other people. Like their
That's what
quotes
I
to
call
him.
pod racing.
Like, I truly deeply love you. You know, Padme says that to him. He does say, now this is pod racing in this book, or it's one of the words, and I was like, oh god. Also has this weird revelation where Sidious may or may not have been responsible for Anakin's death. So that's weird.
Sand.
Oh, sand. Yes, there is sand. Anakin says stupid sand.
I prefer the idea that Palpatine like force banged Anakin's mom.
Yeah, Force Bang Shmi.
Yeah.
That's a very rare Force power.
Yeah.
So basically, like, Anakin's, like, reliving his life as a child and seeing, like, all these twisted visions of, like, who he used to be, potentially the future. That's kind of up in the air. He sees the Jedi Temple. He sees, like, a bunch
Is
of...
this from this run?
He kills a bunch of his old Jedi
Yes.
masters in this vision.
Yes.
Like, all of them. And it's pretty rad. And all at the end, he fights through all these hardships, and he kills Obi-Wan and Sidious in this vision, and he gets to Padme. And he's like, I came for you. And at this point, he's not Vader, or the weird, like, swirling masses we previously saw. He's just Anakin Skywalker again.
Whoa.
And Padme, he like tells Padme to take his hand, and she quotes the angel line to him, and then she jumps off of the castle they're on, and gets struck by red lightning and blows up and dies.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's like
Metaphorical.
it's this very metaphorical moment for Vader where like he lets go of Padme.
I don't know if he lets go of her or she like legitimately force post-death kills herself.
Yeah, you have to wonder if it's like actually like some remnant of her in the Force is like, I don't know you.
Which also makes me think something.
I know what you're talking about. So yeah, it's this very like leveling moment for Vader where he's like, did he imagine that? Is this really the thing where she wants nothing to do with him? And if you ask me, this is the moment where Vader truly falls to the dark side, because he, like I said, in these books up to this point, he's very much struggling with who he is or who he has become.
Yeah.
Even so, like I think.
So you said much closer to Revenge than to A New Hope.
Yeah, more than this is probably closer to Revenge.
Okay.
Probably within 7 years of it or so, if I had to guess.
Which is around the time of the new video game?
Video game's 4 years.
Okay.
Because in the... Oh no, this is probably before the video... Right before the video game.
So this is like
Because...
immediate aftermath of Revenge of the Sith, basically, within a couple of years.
Yeah. Because in the video game, you go to the Inquisitoria's new castle, which is in the Mustafar system.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, so that would, just to give it a frame of reference, in the movies, probably around the same time as the prologue in Rogue One, which is just a couple years after Revenge of the Sith, with Jyn as a little kid.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a cool Vader story. I personally thought that some of the elements of the possessed helmet would come back. They didn't. But,
I wonder if maybe they do because the run, did this end the run, or did the run keep going past this volume, do you know?
I believe the run keeps going past this volume.
yeah, I don't know what Vader's
think he
up
hits
to
50.
after this.
I think it might be the run before this that hits 50, but one of them hit 50.
The previous run went for a long time, because it started right when Aaron's Star Wars did, I
Yeah.
think. But that one is also set well after this, because that one is closer to A New Hope than this.
Because Vader Down is before New Hope.
Right, because Vader Down was part of the
is
previous
it?
Darth Vader run.
No, it's post New Hope.
No,
right,
it's
yeah.
post.
Because he
That's right.
because
the
he's looking
previous
for Luke.
Vader run was set between
Right.
4 and 5. This current Vader run is set after 3.
Yeah. Because
Because-
Vader Down's when he first finds out. Like, he fights Luke.
And finds out that Luke
Yeah.
is
Well-
his
He
son.
puts it together because Luke has his lightsaber. And he's like,
well, it's
get that.
it's after Boba Fett returns to Vader after going to Tatooine and raiding Ben Kenobi's old hut, and he comes back and he goes, "All I can tell you is the boy's name's Skywalker," and Vader goes, "Skywalker," and like
Cracks the glass in the Star
all the
Destroyer.
glass in the Star Destroyer in the window he's standing in,
what a great scene.
and that's how it ends Volume 1 for Aaron's run.
There's also,
in Star Wars.
to go back to this, there's a quote in this that is a Kylo Ren quote, and it's reading off all the quotes. It says, let the past die, kill it if you must. And I was like,
Now,
interesting.
didn't you say... because I'm only one season into Rebels at the moment, but there's a scene in one of the later seasons of Rebels from around the time Last Jedi came out that uses some audio from the film, you said, right? When I think Ezra's like hearing a lot of the past
Yeah,
and the
I
future, so it's like a
believe-
lot of Star Wars
yeah.
prequel, original, trilogy, and sequel
I'm pretty,
stuff.
it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure you hear some, like, future stuff in that, too.
It's bullshit.
What?
They don't got my boy in here.
No, Kit Fisto's not in there. That's because
Kit
Anakin...
Fisto was my favorite Jedi.
That's
as a
because
kid.
Anakin doesn't kill Kit Fisto.
No, he doesn't.
Those are pretty
And-
much all people he kills in that.
I named
Even
my
that guy
wizard
from
as a
the,
kid after Kit Fisto.
Jarl Poof.
I just know him from the Star Wars specials of Robot Chicken, where he has to
Yeah.
go get all the pizzas for everybody.
That's Jarl Poof.
Yeah.
Ask me anything. I'm a certified Star Wars expert.
I can't wait to quote that back
Tell
at
me
you.
all about your El Poof.
Jarl Poof, he's got
Where
a
did
long
he go
neck.
between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones? Why isn't he on the council anymore of
I
clones?
think he died, probably.
I remember
I know
something about
Yaddle
the old
dies.
continuity. Yeah, well, no, Yaddle is not accounted for in the current continuity. I know the old
You sure about that? I could've swore
100%.
she died.
No, I know she 100% she died in the old EU. I looked it up once, Baby Yoda became a thing.
Yeah.
She is unaccounted for in the current continuity.
I know, like, whenever these Vader comics come out, they always show, like, there's always a page that has the list of the surviving Jedi.
Yep.
And if you can translate or read the Arbesh, you can, like, it's always like Obi-Wan, Yoda, I think Heathcliff was on that list, and not anymore.
So, Baby Yoda should
Quinlan-
be on that list now.
Quinlan Voss is on that list. That's a very niche
Interesting.
character.
He was in a whole one episode of the Clone Wars.
No, he had more than one episode.
I thought... Wait, like Surfer Bro Quinlan Voss?
Yeah, he showed up in another episode.
Was he in more than one? I only remember him from one. I know he was supposed to be in the Asajj thing later on.
That's
that
what
got
I'm
turned
thinking
into
of.
a book.
Yeah.
But I only remember him from one episode paired up with Obi-Wan.
See, I hear
It
the,
might have been a multi-episode arc, but
Yeah,
he was
it
only
was.
in the one story.
I hear the Asajj thing, and like I know you guys are talking about the animated Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Like the CG one.
But
all I
she
can
debuted in the Gendy show.
all I can picture is the Gendy gladiator
Right.
fight.
That was cool stuff.
That was dope. And then you see
I just
the-
remember Count Dooku jumping down
Yeah.
like...
Levitating
Yeah.
down?
But she gets the two fucking curved.
Yeah.
Which she still uses in the
No,
Clone Wars.
I've seen her use them, but like when she just.
I'm
Now-
glad they kept her.
John, would you, just because you're, like, whereas I'm all about Star Wars in the movies and the TV stuff, but you know a lot of, like, the expanded universe stuff.
Yes.
I know that the concept of the, whatchamacallit, the Inquisitors is not something that really came about until around Rebels. But would Asajj technically be an Inquisitor? Like, I mean, I know that term is
So-
never used for her, but that's basically the role she fills, right?
In a way. But Dooku only kept one apprentice.
Whereas Vader
Because-
kept a bunch of Inquisitors.
Vader's Dooku's apprentices were used to throw off the Jedi
Yeah.
to think, is he the master or the apprentice? So Dooku had an apprentice in a
Yeah.
way to like, because Asajj was his apprentice.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, and then he turned against her, and he got Savage Opress as his apprentice.
Yeah.
Savage turned against him, and then he went apprenticeless. But kind of, but not really. I know in the old expanded universe, Dooku had dark acolytes.
Right, and
Who-
so they were basically the
Inquisitors for the
Inquisitors
Separatists.
before, yeah.
And I think the Inquisitors were a thing in the old canon.
were they?
Yes, I think they kind of whatever
See, I thought
series
that was something Filoni created for Rebels. That's now
No,
kind
they
of
were they were
spun out.
kind of different because the Inquisitors didn't really show up until after the Emperor died. 'Cause
Yeah.
they were like, hey, we're Force sensitives, and I think that goes into the Kyle Katarn games. I think that's Jedi
Okay.
Knight.
Yeah,
I've never
think that's
played
the
them,
Jedi
but
Knight
yeah.
games.
So like a lot that has to do with a lot of them. So
I need to jump back into Rebels. I need to start season 2 now.
canon Inquisitors are much cooler,
Yeah.
even with their helicopter lightsaber blades.
It wouldn't be Star Wars if it didn't have some weird, unreasonably goofy thing.
They have an interesting reasoning for it. There's lower gravity on that planet. That's how they were able to do it. Okay, shut up.
It's just like every time there's something really cool in Star Wars, it has this one really goofy thing, and that's one of the things that I love about Star Wars.
Yeah, but the art in this is really cool. It's very it's very Star Warsy.
That's
But it's
good.
also Star Warsy in the sense that Momin's helmet was in like the one-off Lando comic from like 2015.
Huh.
So it's like this
So-
kind of Marvel-esque like Easter egg where something super small comes back, but
So, oh yeah, because that land again, I didn't read it, but I remember Amanda had some of the issues, and I flipped through them.
yeah,
So he was like collecting Sith artifacts or something.
he
in
was
it,
just
right?
stealing valuable artifacts. He
And
broke
there
onto
were some-
Palpatine's yacht, not
Alright.
knowing whose yacht it was, and he's
Oh.
like looking at everything, and he's like, "This is the Emperor's," because it's like just dark side artifacts.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Uh-oh," and then
Better
I think
steal something before I'm out of
you
here.
also see Momin's helmet much earlier in this comic series. I think you see Vader's helmet and like Momin's helmet in like 7 or 8 in the Jedi Temple. Whatever one has the lightsaber gun.
I remember picking those up for you.
I'm just sorry, just to backtrack slightly. You talking about Lando on Palpatine's yacht, and in my head, all I'm seeing is the scene in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade where he bumps into Hitler while he's in disguise as a Nazi
Yeah.
guy, and he doesn't know what else to do, and he hands Hitler the book that he just stole from Hitler's guy to have him autograph.
But yeah, so you see it in like the helmets appeared a couple times in the like leading up to this story, which was cool. That it's like this little thing that I don't know if they initially planned for it to have a bigger role, but the fact that it was there. That lightsaber gun is another interesting one. The librarian from episode 2.
Yep.
She
And
breaks.
she had a couple fight scenes in Clone Wars, right? If I remember correctly, she had like some action scene defending the library or something.
I think she. Yeah, maybe.
In one episode, I think droids get in.
Yeah, I think she fights droids in one episode, and I think she appears in a later episode. Very briefly. But so she sneaks back into the temple after Order 66 to steal. She goes into her private archives to steal some stuff, and that's where you see Momin's helmet there. That's also where she gets the lightsaber rifle.
So
Which
she
is-
just break into the archives and put Camino back on the map?
I don't know what she does. She fights the Grand Inquisitor.
I remember that.
Good old Inky.
Because John's like, some cool shit happens. So I flip through the issue and I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but it is cool.
She's got a lightsaber gun. And like, okay, it's been a while. I think she loads a lightsaber into this like rifle,
I think so.
and then it fires like a lightsaber beam, like a sniper rifle.
So technically, it's a miniaturized Death Star
yeah,
tech.
exactly. You
Because
gotta wonder if that's where
if
Sidious
there's
got it from.
one thing that Star Wars needs is more Death Star tech.
Yes, all of the Death Stars. So that's Vader down. Highly recommend
It's
it.
not Vader down, it's Fortress Vader.
Fortress Vader. Jesus, sorry.
Vader's going up in this one.
I really like the Marvel Star Wars stuff. I've consumed quite a bit of it.
I listened to a good podcast the other day with the editor from the Star Wars stuff. She seems real cool, and now she's working for Valiant.
The only Marvel Star Wars book that I've read is the one that was part of the Journey to the Force Awakens back in 2015. It was Shattered Empire. The one that was like setting up plot threads for Force Awakens, but immediately in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi.
I wanted to read the Poe series, even though I heard it kind of like...
Yeah, I heard that one kind of teetered a lot.
Yeah. Because it was like... I don't know. I've heard some weird things about the Poe
That
series.
It leads directly into Force Awakens and then weaves through Force Awakens and Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm. If we do more Star Wars, Vader down will definitely be up there. Hopefully the Kylo Ren.
The current Kylo Ren.
The current Kylo Ren. What else? They did a Maul run, but it was okay.
You know what I do want to read? The one thing that they left as canon from the Dark Horse era of Star Wars because it was the unproduced Clone Wars scripts. Son of Dathomir.
Oh, I think I have that.
I want to
have
read
it or Fred
that
has it.
because it's literally just Clone Wars scripts that they never got to animate that were adapted as a comic.
It's like Maul and Death Watch. I think you either have it or you gave it to me.
If it's Star Wars,
Son of Dathomir.
I probably gave it to
It's the it was the
Yeah.
it's
They
the
break Maul
only
out of
Dark
prison.
Horse comic that they consider canon because
yeah.
it's a Clone Wars adaptation.
I remember that. I read it. It was cool. You probably still have it.
I probably have it. Yeah, I think.
Just because with Clone Wars coming back, that one might be.
Is that the one where he
to-
doesn't have a lightsaber, he's got like that Mandalorian sword for a little bit?
Yes, the dark saber.
the dark saber?
As
I know
relevant
stuff.
as listen, that thing is as relevant as it is ever.
Yep.
You don't care about Mandalorian, you said, right? You care about the movie, just not Mando.
I care about a great many things.
Okay.
It's just my access to those many things are limited.
Okay. But
I'm not on the Mandalorian hype train because
you have no way to access it.
I'm against it because it's hip and cool, as some
Yeah,
people might think I am.
Fred's
I'm not
a
on
hippie.
I'm not on the hype train because like the station doesn't go past my house.
And that's why he doesn't like it. But so maybe I do want to read Afra, and Afra's very different and has
Didn't
a lot of
Afra
weird
just
stuff.
reset with a new #1?
I think so. Yeah,
Probably.
I know Afra has like force vampires and some other crazy stuff that sounds very cool.
Which just means we're getting Space Blade.
Yo, whoa! When are we gonna read some Blade?
Oh, we can read Blade.
We got other books this year.
We'll have to figure out some other stuff. I think I know we said Marvel 1602 was next or whatever it is, but
No, probably not.
no.
Well, we were going to do that for the Thanksgiving episode. We missed Thanksgiving, too.
That's been sitting somewhere.
We'll figure it out.
The next Star Wars book we have planned is for May 5th because of May 4th.
And we're gonna do
Yes.
tacos.
But, like,
And
Why?
Key
What's
Wi-Fi.
May 5th?
Went by. Huh?
What's May 5th?
May 4th.
No, but what's May 5th? Why do we need tacos?
Cinco de Mayo.
What's that?
We're gonna make a
When is
Cinco,
that?
Cinco de Mayo Force be with you. Cinco
De
Mayo the Force be
the
with you.
4th be with you with some mayo.
We'll figure it out. We're rambling.
Happy
Just-
Life Day.
just so we're clear, this is the stream we have probably introduced ourselves to the least amount of alcohol
Yeah.
overall.
I mean,
And we are No, like, we have access to it, but we've each had, like, a small slice of pie, and, like, 2 people have taken sips of eggnog.
Sips, I had a cup.
I took a sip of Emeritus. I haven't eaten today, so I probably shouldn't
But, like,
consume lots of alcohol.
We sound inebriated.
Well, yeah, we're like sitting here going, "Cinco de Mayo, force be with." You sound like
Exactly.
George Lucas in a pitch meeting.
And as the Disney executive, I think I'm
man
going to call a
alive.
close to this.
The midichlorians.
Yeah.
End it, Tom.
Alright, we have new social media links,
And
which means
old
I have to
social
go back
media.
and change the social media
Let the
links and
past
every...
die.
Oh,
Kill it if you have to.
no.
Kill it if you have.
Forget the passwords if you have
Kylo,
to.
no.
Okay, at least this time it matches.
Yes.
Oh, let me go get my Kylo Ren lightsaber.
So let's just, so social medias are all going to be in our description. You could click on them, you could follow them, you could subscribe them, you could like, you could poke us on Facebook.
But please do something.
Please don't poke us on Facebook.
Poke us
Don't
on
touch me.
Facebook.
I don't want to
All
be
right.
touched.
Oh.
May the force be with you all, and happy Life Day.